In a quaint little village, nestled beside a vast and somber forest, lived a poor woodcutter with his wife and 2 children, Hansel and Gretel. A terrible famine had descended upon the land, leaving their cupboards bare and their stomachs aching with hunger. The parents, their faces etched with despair, saw no way to feed their children. One night, under the pale moonlight, the stepmother convinced the woodcutter that their only choice was to abandon Hansel and Gretel in the woods, hoping someone kinder and wealthier might find them. The next morning, the parents led their children deep into the heart of the dense, dark forest, claiming they were going to gather wood. Hansel, having overheard his parents' desperate plan, had cleverly filled his pockets with small white pebbles. As they walked, he discreetly dropped the stones one by one, creating a shimmering trail on the forest floor. When they reached the deepest part of the woods, their father built a small fire and told them to wait while he and their mother gathered more wood. Hansel and Gretel waited and waited, but their parents never returned. As night fell, fear began to creep in, but Hansel comforted his sister, showing her the path of pebbles gleaming in the moonlight, which safely guided them back home. Their relief was short-lived. The famine worsened, and soon the stepmother insisted they try again. This time the door was locked, and Hansel could not gather any pebbles. He had only a crust of bread, which he crumbled and dropped along the path. But alas, the hungry birds of the forest swooped down and ate every last crumb, leaving no trail to follow. When their parents abandoned them once more, the children were truly lost. They wandered for 3 days, their hunger growing with each step, until they stumbled upon a most extraordinary sight. There, in a sunlit clearing, stood a small house built entirely of gingerbread, with a roof of cake and windows of clear sugar. With eyes wide in disbelief and delight, the starving children ran to the house and began to nibble on its delicious walls. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and a sweet elderly woman emerged, leaning on a cane. "Nibble, nibble, little mouse, who is nibbling at my house?" she cooed, her smile deceptively warm. She invited them inside, promising warm beds and a feast of pancakes and apples. But the kind old woman was actually a wicked witch who lured children with her gingerbread house only to cook and eat them. The next morning, she threw Hansel into a locked cage and forced Gretel to do chores, intending to fatten the boy up for her oven. Every day, the witch would tell Hansel to stick his finger through the bars so she could feel if he was plump enough. The clever boy, however, would poke out a thin bone he had found, tricking the witch with her poor eyesight into thinking he was still too thin. Finally, her impatience got the better of her, and she decided to cook him anyway. She ordered Gretel to check if the large oven was hot enough. Sensing a trap, Gretel pretended she didn't understand. "Silly girl," the witch grumbled. "Let me show you." As the witch leaned forward to demonstrate, Gretel gave her a mighty shove, sending her tumbling into the fiery oven. Gretel quickly slammed the heavy door shut, and the wicked witch was no more. After freeing Hansel from his cage, the children explored the witch's house and discovered chests overflowing with pearls and precious jewels. Filling their pockets with the treasure, they knew they had to find their way home. This time, a little white bird, as if sent by magic, guided them through the woods, singing a beautiful song. The forest began to look more familiar, and soon they spotted the roof of their cottage in the distance, a glimmer of hope filling their hearts. They ran the rest of the way, bursting through the door to find their father, alone and full of remorse. Their stepmother had passed away, and he had not known a moment of peace since they had left. The reunion was a tearful one, full of tight embraces and forgiveness. With the witch's treasure, their worries were over. The family lived together in happiness and prosperity, never knowing hunger again, their love for one another the greatest treasure of all.